Today we'll continue with the preparations for Pesach, which is next week, next Friday night. There is one aspect that sometimes people forget about, and it is there's a great mitzvah as we prepare ourselves for Pesach to think also about the needy people, those who need support, those who need financial assistance. And it's a great mitzvah as we prepare for Pesach, with purchasing everything that we need, to have in mind also and think about those that are not as fortunate and maybe need assistance to be able to cover the expenses associated with Pesach. And therefore, this period also of the year is a period that traditionally you assist people either by giving directly to those you're aware of, or giving to a kupat tzedakah, to a charity organization, or even through our synagogue. Funds can be given specifically for that purpose, and they're dispersed to people who are in need. In terms of what priority do you give, there is a great merit to give assistance to people who learn Torah, who dedicate their day to learning Torah and are in need. These are people that definitely have a great value in terms of their support. Also, if a person has relatives who are in need of support, definitely the close relatives of a person would take precedence over people that are not related to him. And the people of his city would take precedence over people of other cities. So as we think of who to give assistance to, we should think about those who learn Torah, those who are related to us, those who are closer to our community would come first. And then there is another aspect about tzedakah. It's a great merit if the person who gives the tzedakah doesn't know who is receiving that charity, and the person who's receiving that charity doesn't know who he's receiving it from. So therefore, that's why if the funds are given to a reliable, to a trusted charity fund that will disperse them properly, that also is a great mitzvah in the fact that the person who's giving doesn't know who is being assisted, and the person who's receiving doesn't know who is being assisted by. Another subject that comes into question during these days is how do you kosherize for Pesach certain pots, ovens, etc. You've used them all year round for chametz, and now Pesach is coming close. If you have Pesach pots and pans and vessels and utensils, that's great, you know. But what about if you'd like to use those that you use all year round? So there is different ways to kosherize different items. For instance, an oven. Yes, an oven can be kosherized to be used for Pesach. The way to do it is to clean it very thoroughly with great oven detergents to clean an oven. Make sure that all the cracks, everything that has been properly cleaned. And once it's very, very clean and properly cleaned, don't use it for 24 hours. And after those 24 hours, if it's a self-cleaning oven, just put it on a self-cleaning mode. If not, then put it on the highest setting for 1 hour. And after you've done that, that oven would be usable for Pesach. What about pots? Pans, pots that you've used all year round. So if you used it with liquid, let's say you cook in it, you boil in it, and there's chametz in that pot, then you make sure you clean it very, very well thoroughly, and again, leave it for 24 hours without being used. Clean the handle, every part of it. If there are certain parts that are very hard to clean or to get to, you can pour over it bleach, and by the bleach, reaching those parts where there may be chametz that cannot be reached to be cleaned, the bleach will make it not edible. And then once it's cleaned that way, you'll do agala. What is agala? You take a large pot and you boil in it water until it gets to a real boiling stage with bubbling. And then you dip the smaller pot into the larger pot until it's fully covered in the water, and then pull it out from there and dip it in cold water. That's agala. What about, let's say, a barbecue, the grill on top of the barbecue, or certain things that use in direct contact with fire, not in a pot like boiling, but direct contact with fire, like the example of a barbecue. So those parts, those aspects that are in direct contact with fire, the only way to clean them is by torching them with a flame. So these items can be kosherized for Pesach, and that would be usable that way. If there are certain questions as to how do you kosherize certain type of things that we may have not covered, please do not hesitate to call, and we can speak specifically about that item that you'd like to kosherize for Pesach.